Hey guys, RPM here. Hope you're doing well. Having a really great day. This video, I am extremely happy and excited to tell you that I have passed my electrical inspection. And I'm actually very disappointed because I put a lot of effort and time and work over the past week here of getting everything all set up to code, and basically what you guys told me in the comments of the previous video that I did about a week ago about telling you guys that I had an electrical inspection coming up. Basically all I did was not even noticed by the inspector. And so throughout this video, I'm gonna tell you guys like what I did in terms of the changes I did because of you guys, and as well talk about the inspection that just happened, a couple hours ago, fresh in my mind, which I'll go through right now. So it was a woman who came in to inspect my electrical and whatnot. So she walked in, came in. First thing she saw was basically these two electrical panels. And first thing she said was, wow, this looks pretty good. She was looking at the top here, looking at all the wires. She didn't go further and inspect anything. She was just standing here, and then we had some small talk. I was standing right there. She was simply just looking at them. And so a couple minutes later, she wanted to take out the screws to take off the panels so that she can see inside. So she asked for a screwdriver, which I had. I gave it to her, and she took out the panels herself. So there were 6 screws on each of these 200 amp panels. So they were off, which, you know what, let me do that right now. Okay, and then the first thing she said when the panels were off, she said, wow, this is really clean, very well done. She looked at the other side, it looked very clean. She said, very well done. And then she took maybe like a minute or so just to look at the tops here, and she didn't say anything. She said, it looks great. And then maybe another minute later, she went ahead and unscrewed this part here, this cover that was mainly for the piping that goes outside for my 400 amp service. So she took this off, also took off this panel as well. She wanted to inspect the wires that were going into the essentially the 200 amp breaker here. And she said it was perfect, looks great. She put the covers back on. That was a couple minutes later. And then she proceeded to put back the panels. So all in all, this was probably a good 15 minutes together. Once the panels were on, she said, yep, looks great. She didn't even look at like my server rack or anything, the conduit that I put in, which I'll talk about this in a sec, and everything that I did over here. She didn't even look at my stuff over here. Didn't even see these plugs or conduit or anything. Didn't inspect any of this stuff, which I will go through what I changed there because of you guys. So yeah, I'm just I am happy, but I'm also disappointed because I put in so much work, but she didn't look at anything else, and she just said, everything looks great. Didn't even notice the breaker didn't have anything going to it. And I even put it as a spare, like you guys mentioned to do. And I put in the clamp at the top here. I think this is an 1.5 inch clamp for the extra wiring that didn't have a little clamp or hole, whatever that's called there, a bushing. And some of you guys said to code, I would need to put like maybe a 1/2 inch or a 3/4 size hole instead. That's meant for Romex instead of a clamp like this. But a few of you said this was okay, but she didn't notice that. So yeah, just regarding this part here, I mean, she didn't look at anything else, and she said it looked great. Everything is perfect. Closed up the panels, and she left. So that was my inspection, guys. That was it. That's what she did. She didn't talk about anything else. We just did some small talk. Obviously, I said I didn't say I was crypto mining or anything like that, but yeah, just that was very simple. I don't know if I was very lucky in that regard, and I've been hearing horror stories of other people having inspections that are nightmares, and they nitpick every little thing in their electrical setup. But anyways, guys, I want to talk to you what I did, what I changed. I've changed a lot in this basement over the past 5 days here, and this is why I haven't really made videos. I've been doing live streams, you guys have probably noticed, because I've been focusing on my electrical setup and everything. She didn't even notice like my plugs that were up here, you know, didn't comment on anything like that. She was just only here. She didn't look at any of the other receptacles, though I did ask her one question, which I asked if I needed conduit, which I've actually kind of already made because I thought I needed to do it for these two cables behind my server rack. So my 240 volt 30 amp, I thought this would need to be in conduit, and also my 120 volt as well. But she said anything under 5 feet from the ceiling does not need to be in conduit. I don't know if that's true or not. That's what she told me. And I was reading some stuff online, and some YouTubers, electricians that were reading the NEC, I guess the National Electrical Code, that Romex can be fine in EMT, but apparently it can't if it is a wet or damp location or something. I'll put on the screen here of where I was reading about all that kind of stuff. All of you electrician people can let me know down below, but she just said because it's 5 feet from the ceiling that I didn't need to have it in conduit. So I'm probably gonna put it in conduit anyway because I have this ready already just to place onto the top here. So yeah, that's actually the only question I asked. And some of you guys may be asking, Red Panda, don't ask any questions, just, you know, accept what she said and be done with it. And you know what? I'm very happy, yes, extremely happy that that happened. Okay, so now let's go through what I also changed in this basement. So I changed all of my outlets in the basement here to GFCI. This is apparently a new code law for the NEC in 2023 handbook that GFCI should be in all basements now. And I believe in kitchens as well. So I've put GFCI everywhere and also over here. Okay, and I also have a GFCI on my test bench over here anyway. So yeah, I have GFCI plugs, and I put them all over the place because I thought, you know, if the inspector came, they would look at, you know, maybe because it's a basement essentially that I would need GFCI. So that was one thing I was worried about, but it didn't matter anyway. Okay, next thing I changed was, we already went through it, but this plug here, or this clamp I put in here, I had to take out all the wires that were for my server rack and the data racks, right? The 240 volt 30 amp. I had to take out all the wires through there in order to put this damn little clamp. I hate this thing so much. It was such a pain to not only put in, but also put in all the cables and whatnot after. So that took me a good couple hours to do. But I also, you know, I stapled them to the board here. Just like the other ones, you know, just so I think to code that you need to have them clamped like this to something after they're going through an exit, like a panel here. So I did that, and she didn't even notice anyway. Okay, and then the last thing with my panels, I did label literally everything like you guys mentioned. I labeled everything. I even labeled with a Dymo labeler. I put these numbers also on the other ends as well, upstairs. So these are for mainly like my 20 amp outlets, and yeah, I've done my kitchen stuff, TV stuff, outlets. I haven't done every one of them, but most of them, the 20 amp ones, are actually all the 20 amp ones that really mattered the most. And I labeled all of my basement ones as well. You know, I labeled everything down here in the basement. Okay, so that's another thing that you guys mentioned to do, was make sure you label everything, and I did, even the damn light switch as well, and my outlets just everywhere. Okay, I've been pretty paranoid ever since you guys told me to do all this, but it didn't even matter. Okay, you guys are gonna hear me complain a lot, but I know it's a good thing that I passed inspection. But okay, going along, another thing that I changed, okay, I took out the meter box. Okay, I was very paranoid about this because this is not UL rated or whatever. A lot of you guys mentioned that. So I took this out, but again, she didn't even notice it anyway. So anyway, it was right here before. I also changed out the this is the single gang box, which had holes in them. Okay, not only on this side, I also had 2 open holes on the other side of the single gang box. So I replaced both of these gang boxes because they had holes in them. And a lot of you guys said to buy plugs or covers or something, because to code, you need to make sure they're covered if they're not used. So I had 2 new ones anyway, so I just put them right here. And normally I did have a hole open for the meter box that was here. And another thing you guys caught, which was really good, is that this is meant for a 20 amp plug, and this is a 15 amp circuit. Okay, so 15 amp circuit going into a 20 amp receptacle plug here. I should really have 12 gauge wiring going to this rather than 14 gauge, which I have for this 15 amp receptacle. Okay, so I'm learning some more things from you guys. Thank you for that. So I'm probably gonna run another dedicated 12 gauge wire here. Okay, I'm gonna run it down here just for the meter box on 120 volt. Okay, so that I will do another time, and as well I do need to put in my meter boxes for my 240 volt 30 amp, which I'm thinking of just replacing this whole thing, which, oh my god, I put in a lot of effort to putting in these connectors. Okay, I know some of you guys mentioned Red Panda, doesn't matter too much, but I did it anyway. Instead of using these, I forgot what these are called, and you know, it was just simply going like this. So now they're kind of angled and hugging the wall, which is much nicer. And yeah, again, she didn't notice my conduit. You guys know, I put the clamps here for the conduit. I believe there was a code from 12 to 18 inches max that you need to have something to clamp in the EMT to your wall. Okay, now another thing, this was a big one for me, is these little ends here, little plastic, I don't know what you guys would call these, couplers or whatever, just so that it wouldn't cut the wires, okay, the Romex going through the EMT, okay, and as well as I also put the plastic tabs on the other side, inside as well, okay, so they're like these little plastic bushing, 1/2 inch plastic bushing, okay. This is what I used for the ends of these types of connectors. So that was another thing that I don't think that was the right thing to use for Romex, which I did order I'll show on the screen here, a specific little coupler that has a Romex end that's meant for Romex for EMT. But instead, I got these plastic things that would just go on the ends of normal couplers. And but anyways, I didn't ask about that. She didn't even notice, didn't even care anyway. So I guess it doesn't even matter anyway. But you guys can let me know. I'm so disappointed. I'm actually so disappointed. I put so much effort and work into doing that. Okay, now the other conduit that I did for my light switch here, I also put in a clamp here to support it. You guys noticed that in the last video. Put another one up here, so this is not going anywhere. And yeah, this one already had one of these angled couplers already. So that hugs the wall just fine, just perfect. And yeah, I can't think of anything else that I did. Yeah, other than labeling, other than making sure I had the plastic ends. Oh yeah, I did the bushing end on here as well. Okay, so that goes on the end of this EMT right here for my light switch. So some of you guys mentioned that, and thank you, right? Thank you for that, for you guys telling me what to do there. So, okay, I think that's it. That's ultimately what I did, and that's what's been taking a lot of my time over the past week here. I have been making sure everything is okay, and you guys have given me all the ideas, what to do, and I think I did it. The biggest one for me also took a lot of time is changing the GFCI outlets to GFCI to all the outlets in the basement here. So ultimately, doing all that, I don't think it didn't matter to the eyes of the inspector, but maybe for safety wise, you know, doing all that for GFCI, I don't know, safety for the wires in case the plastic or the sheathing or whatever gets cut, then for the EMT, then that's all well and good. And yeah, I guess mentally, this is something I've been working for the past week here, and I'm actually relieved now that this is finally done. Now, this is where the fun begins, guys. I'm gonna go hard, gonna start putting more 240 volt, 30 amp circuits all over the place. I got extra room here for the other 200 amp panel. I think I can add another 2 at the top here. Then this panel would be extremely full. So yeah, then I would have in total 6 240 volt 30 amps on this 200 amp panel. And then I don't know how many I could add here. I could add a lot more, but that will be down the road. And I did talk with you all regarding in the live streams regarding my electrical rate, that I could try to get cheaper electrical rate, but I would have to hit that certain amount of kilowatt usage a year. I think anything above 550,000 kilowatt hours. So yeah, that's going to be something I would love to do, but at this point in time, how I have my setup here, I don't know if I'd be able to cool something like that, but I do have 2 external windows which we could, you know, try to manipulate somehow, exhaust, and A lot of fun ahead. So thank you all for watching. Let me know if you made it this far to the end. And man, I'm so done. I'm so done of just working on this stuff. But you guys let me know if you still see any violations and whatnot. But honestly, I think I'm good to go now. I don't have to care anymore, right? I don't have to care anymore. I don't have to worry anymore. And I think we are good to go to start wiring more circuits here. And now I am good to go to get a shelf here. Maybe two, you know what? Maybe two shelves. I was thinking of doing just a long double husky shelf across here. We'll see. One thing I'm concerned about is because of the plumbing here, it's kind of low, so my shelf will probably hit that. And another thing, I'm really surprised the inspector lady didn't like notice the plumbing that was sitting in front of here, right? That's another thing, because you know, with plumbing like this, you know, it could equal something like that. The basement like this could be damp or wet potentially. So that's why I put GFCI, you know, outlets here and over here, just everywhere, because of the fact of the plumbing. I don't know. I was just so disappointed. I didn't hear any violations, but I guess it's good that I lucked out in that way. Okay, guys, I'll see you on the next video. Let me know your thoughts. See you in the next video. Start plugging in some crypto mining hardware. Finally get this place going. Also getting my servers up. Wait for that, guys. A lot of videos to come. Peace out.